Alright, good morning everyone, and welcome back to our distant learning program. And in this video, you are going to study the Speaking Tutor 3A book for your first session. As you know, on the first sessions, we are going to study this book. And in the second sessions, you are going to study the blueprint 4. Now, without any further ado, let's look at the lessons that you are going to study today. So in today's lessons, the unit that you are going to study is the unit 4, which is my favorite book. And right now we are on the lesson 4, which is the review lesson of what you have learned from lesson 1, lesson 2, and lesson 3. And the lesson is on page 81. I hope everyone remember the language structure that you need to learn in the Speaking Tutor book, and what you will learn here is the giving presentations related to giving a short summary of the favorite books. Okay, so on page 81, if you open your book, there are a practice exercise related to giving a detail of your favorite books. But before we move on to that, there will be some reviews lesson for you to look at. So in today's lessons, we are going to look at the overview of the presentations. I would like to remind you the definitions of what the presentation is. And for the second agenda for today's class, you will learn some tip in order to improve your presentation skill, which is to use a visual aid. Last but not least, you will practice some of the exercise in your book, which is on page 81. And the title of the practice exercise is Develop Your Detail. Now, without any further ado, let's get started for the first things in the video, which is the overview of the presentations. So as you can see in the picture, the presentations, which mean a boy is doing a presentation. So he is showing the picture. So the general idea of presentation is the process. So pay attention to the word process. You need to specify on the word process of presenting a topic to an audience. It is typically a demonstration, introduction, lecture, or speech, means to inform, persuade, inspire, motivate, or to present a new idea or product. So what you need to pay attention to is the word process. So what are the process of doing the presentations, and what are the purpose of your presentation? Whether it is the introduction of something which or something that you want to demonstrate to other people, which means to show something new to other people. It can be your idea or it can be your product. So these are the general view of presentation. And again, you need to pay attention to the word process. So how to give a proper presentation, you need to know the right process. So here are some general ideas that you need to follow. In the presentations, as you see earlier, we talk about the process of your speech. So the word process, it comes with the word order. The right process comes with the right order. How you give your presentation in and consistency in a correct order. So you need to start your presentation with the introduction, and then followed by the body part, which is the important idea of the topic. And last but not least, you need to finish your speech with a proper conclusions. Now let's look at all the three elements again as a quick review, because all this lesson you have already learned. um, so here we have the introduction. So what is introduction? So look at the picture. So introduction, you answer this question in the introduction part. When you come up to do a presentations, your main goal is to answer this question. What is this topic about? So you need to give your listener the clear ideas of what you are about to present. It can be the title of your presentations and what you will talk about in your speech. And there are three more questions to help you construct your presentation in a much more consistent way. So this question we start with who, where, and what. So the first thing, who, you need to tell the audience who you are. Talk about your name, your age, how old are you, where you study. And here is the question where. So where, you need to tell the audience where you study or where you live. Last but not least, you need to talk about what, which is the important question. What, you talk about the title of your presentation topic. What do you want to talk about? And that's it for the introduction. Now let's move on to the body part, which is the important part. It is one of the most important thing, and you will earn a lot of score from this part if you did a very good job in presenting your idea in the body parts. So in the body part, there are some important features regarding to our lesson. From the first unit up until this unit, you have learned a variety of topics. And the topics that you are studying in unit 4, which is giving the summary of the book. So the topic that are most likely for you to present is about your favorite book or your favorite movies. So in the body part, you need to talk about the character. You need to describe who is the main character, who is or who are the evil character, which is the bad persons, the bad things in the story. In case in the story of Harry Potter, Lord Voldemort is the evil character. You need to remember that when describe the character, you need to use the adjective in order to describe that person. Okay, use an adjective. For example, you can use the word clever in order to describe Harry. You can use the word brave to describe Hermione, Harry's friend in the Harry Potter story. And moving on to the other important things, you need to tell your audience the settings of the movie, where it happens. Mostly you talk about the locations, where the story take place. Is it a real location or it's just a fantasy locations? Last but not least, the plot, which is the important events in the story. So you need to tell your audience how the story starts, what are the important events, and how the story ends. So these are the important things that you need to do related to the topics that you study in Unit 4. However, looking back to the lesson in Unit 2, do you remember the Unit 2, the lesson in our book? So the Unit 2, you are learning about how you give reasons and how you describe people. So here, let's say if you pick one of your favorite books, you need to give reason why you pick that book. And then you need to give example in order to support your reason. And this lesson you have already learned in Unit 2 already, right? Very good. So after you finish your body part of the presentations, you need to end your speech. So to end your speech, there are 4 suggested ways that I would like to recommend all of you. So the first one, you need to restate the main idea of your speech. All of all of the important things in your presentation, you need to restate again. You say it again at the end of your speech. So this is the first one. And the second one is to give summary. You don't need to restate everything, but you just give a short summary how the story ends. Is it happily ending or sad ending? So just give a quick summary at the end of your speech. Or you can express your own opinion at the end of your presentation related to your favorite movie or to your favorite books. Let's say in the story of Hermione, do you think it is um, a good way to end the story like that, or is it a bad way to make Harry Potter movie end like that? So you just express your idea at the end of your speech. Last but not least, you can ask your audience in order to draw their attentions. You can ask them some interesting question, ask them to think, and make sure you draw their interest and um, engage them with your presentation. So everyone, that's it for the overview of the presentation. So here are the quick map, which is how you can develop your presentations. So there are four main steps for you to use in order to improve your presentation. The first one, you start with a greeting. Yeah, it is a very polite and formal way to start your speech, and then greets anyone. And the second one is to give the introductions, the body paragraph, or the bodies, or the main idea of your speech. And last but not least, how to end your speech properly. So everyone, that's it for the first part, which is the overview of your presentations. Now let's move on to the other important tip, which is visual aid, which you can use in order to improve your presentation. Have you ever wondered how you can deliver your speech smoothly? Because there are a lot of informations out there. And when you go to speech, you might be nervous, might forget some important things. So what is the tool that can help you to deliver your presentation smoothly? The most recommended way is to use visual aid. So what are visual aids? So visual aid, okay, here we refer to the note. So you can write down some of the important idea for your presentation, or you can use a picture in order to help you um, remember the points of your speech. However, the last one, which is the script, you have to write everything down. What you should say, what you should include in your presentations, write everything down. And the last one is not recommended because when you do a presentation, you are not going to read your script, but you need to look at your audience. So the first two I recommend for you to do. Just write down a few important points or use one or two pictures in order to help you express your idea. So everyone, that's it for the tip that I would like to share with all of you. Now there are some exercises for you to do on page 81. So the first exercise is to fill in the blanks, and it's quite very easy for you to do those type of exercise because you have already learned a lot from the unit 4. And it also giving you a chance to review what you have learned from unit 2 as I presented to you earlier, which is to give reason and example to support your idea. So those exercise on page 81, I hope you can finish those exercise by yourself at home. Now, once it comes to the end of our today's session, and if you have any questions, you can ask your homeroom teacher in our online study group. And if you want to find more information about our school, you can go to our Facebook page, our Telegram group, and our YouTube channel. So now, once it's time to say goodbye and see you again in the next sessions. Goodbye, class.